What's up, guys, and thanks for tuning in to CRÜZR Radio, episode number 39. I'm your host, Andrew Taylor, and today we're joined in by Matt Simcox, manager of Hunters for the Hungry, and one of his top volunteers, Mr. Tim Tower. On today's episode, we talk, what is Hunters for the Hungry? Who do they help? And how can we as outdoorsmen better assist them? Let's get into it. Let's just get right into it. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah.
Give us a little rundown.
My name is Matt Simcox. I work for the Tennessee Wildlife Federation, manage Hunters for the Hungry here in Tennessee, and have been doing that for close to 17 years.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yep, my name's Tim Tower. I'm Matt's kind of local guy. I help him out within 3 counties kind of around here with the program as well. Probably for 10, 12 years, just guessing.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of helping him out since the very beginning, but,
Yeah.
you know, just really
Officially.
yeah, that kind of deal. Yeah.
I got you.
How did you how did you get in with Hunters for the Hungry to begin with?
Well, it's a crazy story. Tim and I, when we graduated high school, we started our college career, and I knew I wanted to do something in wildlife.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I wasn't smart enough to be. I didn't think I was smart enough to be a wildlife major, get my wildlife degree. So the first semester, it was bad. We both dropped out.
Yep.
Me too.
I took a semester off, and Tim joined the Marines, and I eventually got back into Tennessee Tech, and I got on the path. Now I'm gonna try to keep this short, okay?
Yeah.
So I decided I'm gonna go down the business path, but there was way too much math, and at that point in my life, math was not my friend. So I went to my advisor, and I was like, I need to know what path has the least amount of math. And at the time, he was like, well, I've never been asked that before. I have no idea.
That's funny.
So, I mean, it took a few days. And then they finally got back, and they said, I found out professional communications had the least math. It only required 1 math credit.
Nice.
So I was like, well, sign me up.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that it was part of the English department at the time, and it was a lot of reading, which Tim and I had high school English classes together, and the fact that I became like an English major,
That's kind of weird.
it's very weird.
Funny,
Yeah.
But when I started my junior year, I had to do an internship. So I did my internship with TWRA in Region 3 out of Crossville.
Cool.
And so I did 2 years of internship. I knew that the job market for someone in professional communications was pretty small in the wildlife world.
Mm-hmm.
So after I graduated, I had met the folks at the Wildlife Federation at the time. I think there were 3 on staff full time. They had a job opening. I applied. I later found out that they interviewed me just as a favor, but I guess one thing I learned in the communications classes was how to BS my way through an interview.
Yeah.
And I got the job.
Nice.
And I was the only one at the time working there that did not have a wildlife degree. So everything that I know about deer or whatever, I've just picked up on the street, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that's how I got in.
That's funny. So you said your job title is the director. What did you say your job title was?
Hunters for the Hungry manager.
Okay.
Or
All right.
something that may sound a little more official.
Yeah.
But so
basically
I run Hunters for the Hungry in
gotcha.
Tennessee.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
For those that don't know, what is Hunters for the Hungry?
Well, that's a great question. Basically, it's a program. Many other states have similar programs, but here in Tennessee, deer hunters can donate a deer, field dress the deer, harvest it. After you harvest the deer, check it in, and then we partner with processors all over the state. So the hunter drops their deer off, fills out a little form. And then all that meat then gets processed and packaged and then delivered to local agencies that are feeding people.
Yeah.
So like food banks and
Food banks, soup kitchens, children's homes,
nice.
Women's shelters, senior centers, VFWs.
Yeah.
As long as they're a 501c3 or a
Yeah.
church feeding people, then we.
So how would a organization like that apply to receive meat and stuff like that?
Yeah, it's a easy process. Basically, they contact me.
Mm-hmm.
I only require two things. I require a copy of their tax status, or their 501c3
Yep.
EIN info, and then a memo on their letterhead on how they're going to use the meat or distribute the meat.
Gotcha. Cool.
And then I'll file that away, and that's good forever.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, as long as they're keeping that
As
tax
long as
status,
they're
right?
as long as they're keeping the tax status and they're not selling the meat.
Yeah. I'm sure
Yeah,
you've
for
run
sure.
across that in the years past for sure.
There's been a few that have been dropped.
Yeah.
But you can't buy or sell venison, and when we're giving it free, we want it to go to the end user for free.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
As far as from like kill to meal, what kind of are you putting out? Like just general kinds of meat, or I read something about maybe some meat sticks or stuff. What does all that look like?
Yeah, so obviously in Tennessee, the average price to process a deer statewide is $100.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We get our processors to do it at a discounted rate.
Mm-hmm.
So in order for them to feel like they're getting their money from the supplies bag, we let them do it however they want.
Gotcha.
Obviously all ground would go further, but we have some processors that say, well, can I cut some steaks or leave roast whole? Whatever is easy for them, then we let them do that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
As far as like the people you're feeding, I mean, what do they think about the venison? Obviously, it's free to them, so they enjoy it. But just compared, I mean,
we don't get many complaints.
Yeah.
Most of the agencies that are doing like a soup kitchen style, they'll have a disclaimer so people know that it's venison. But one story, probably 8 years ago, we had started working with Room in the Inn downtown Nashville, and they're seeing, thousands of homeless people every week. They come in, they get lunch, they get dinner there. They even have some that live there. And area churches all around the Nashville area, they'll partner with Room in the Inn to host these homeless individuals for Thanksgiving. So they'll say, our church will sign up, and so they'll send a bus up to Room in the Inn, and they'll shuttle homeless guys back to their church. Well, I had a coworker, his church was doing this. He went with them, and on the ride back, they had like 10 guys that was going to stay at their church. And they said, okay, guys, we're going to feed y'all whatever you want. This is your special Thanksgiving meal.
Yeah.
You want turkey, ham, whatever. And I kid you not, 9 out of the 10 guys, they wanted venison because they've had it at Room in the Inn. And when you think about, if you're eating to stay hungry or to stay full, to fight off hunger, I'm sure they learned foods that's going to make them feel fuller and stick with them longer.
Yep.
And so naturally they said venison because that's what it does. It's the second highest protein behind bison, lowest fat content.
Yep. Incredibly healthy, free range, wild meat.
Yeah, I mean you can add all those tags to it, but I always just say now 9 out of 10 homeless dudes prefer venison.
Yeah.
So they like it.
For sure.
Keeps them sustained longer, so it makes sense.
How many pounds do y'all do in a year, roughly?
We've been averaging in the upper 140,000s.
Wow.
So this year we had our second best year ever. We had 147,000 pounds donated, but we actually had the most whole deer donated this past season. We had 3,132 whole deer donated all across the state.
And
wow.
How many mouths will that feed roughly?
Feeds a lot, like 600,000.
Wow.
That's insane.
The biggest thing you got to remember is one deer is 168.
Yeah.
So 168 meals off one deer that gets donated. I mean,
That's
once
a
you
lot.
start thinking about the math, it's like, man, that's a lot of people.
That's a lot of people, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
And one thing you did mention earlier was talking about the hunter dropping it off. One of the biggest misconceptions about the program is whenever you drop it off, you actually have to pay for that processing. It's not true. It's 100% free.
Yep.
So, I mean, how many times have you had that old doe that's standing there blowing at you and you're like, man, she needs to get out of here.
Yeah.
My freezer's full. Hey, right here's where you can drop it
Yeah,
off
that's
at.
right. Yeah,
free of charge, get her out of there. And that way she'll stop busting you every Saturday morning.
Yeah, get that nuisance doe out of there for sure.
Yep. Feed her to your neighbors.
Yeah, that's right. I used to work at a taxidermist whenever I was a kid and meat processor. We talked about earlier, Cersei's. I worked there, when I started when I was like 14, salting deer hides and stuff like that, and then started cutting them. And yeah, man, we've cut up a lot of deer from for Hunters for the Hungry. So
yeah,
the deer. If you turn a deer in from, like, say, Putnam County, does it go to Putnam County to feed, or is it spread out?
Yeah, so my goal is to keep it all local.
Yeah.
So it'll all go to local agencies in the county, and sometimes even in the same community.
Yeah,
nice.
And that's a big selling point for our processors. I mean, when you think about it from a processor's perspective, why even bother with this program when you know you can get $100+ for a basic cut? Why would you be interested in taking a discount? And so I really try to promote all of our processors. Obviously, we've got them on our website. We advertise for them. There's some other little incentives like butcher supplies they can get at a discount. But what I really have found over the years, it's not about the money. To the guys that we have in our program, they truly want to use their gifts and talents to help provide food for their local neighbors.
Yeah.
And so when I go meet with a new processor, one of the things that I ask is, do you know anybody in this community that's feeding people? And most times they'll know of a church or some kind of mission or something. And I'll say, well, let's get them signed up so they know now where all their meat's going.
Yeah.
And they have that buy-in. So now they know where it goes. Any hunter that comes in, they can answer all the questions. They'll say it just goes right down the road here to this place.
Yep.
In some counties, like our county here, we've got several agencies that get it. I mean, we're fortunate to have a lot of deer donated in this county, so we're able to spread it out.
Yeah,
I'd say there'd be a lot more donated this year with
absolutely.
Since we're going to 3 does a day this year.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You talked about just the butchers having their talents. I mean, we're all hunters. We all can kill. So, especially with 3 does a day, I feel like that opens up a lot more opportunity to help feed some families.
Well, it really does. And something Tim hit on earlier is I feel like there's this misconception. When you think about our program, it's one of the oldest programs in the country. We started a national network with venison donation programs, and right now we've got 28 states. There's a handful of us that have been 20 plus years, but there's a lot of new agencies that are starting up, or organizations, I should say, that are doing this in different states. But right now we're only getting, out of all the deer harvested in Tennessee, we're only getting 2% of the deer donated. And the biggest reason I believe that it's not more is I think there's all these misconceptions. Like, people don't know what to do. They don't know that it's free, or they think they have to sign up for something. Yeah. And that's not the case. Yeah. You literally
kill the deer, drop it off, and say, I'm donating it to Hunters for Hunger. Yep.
It's that easy.
It's that easy, yeah, for sure.
And I feel like this makes it easy, too, because a lot of people want to help, but are too scared to maybe go help at a homeless shelter or something like that, where in this case, do what you love and you feed a family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, you feed a lot more than just one. I mean, 168 meals on a deer is
that's a lot.
That's a lot of people.
For
So
sure.
And like typically with our family, what we do is, especially my kids, they harvest one for the freezer. The next one goes to the program.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And then what I've learned is when we're sitting around the dinner table together and they go, hey, whose deer is this? If I go, it's mine, they're like, where if I go, oh, that's that 6 point you killed or 8 point or doe or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you remember that morning? It was good and cold, and the
Yep.
stories start coming out and that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
Almost 95% of my deer now, I just straight out donate just because I'd rather have the kids' deers in the freezers.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just that for the story, and that way they feel like they're a part of it. But then that is one of our rules is, hey, every other deer gets donated to the program.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I said, I've been involved with the program for a long time.
Yep,
So
yep.
to us, it means a little bit more.
Sure.
But I think last year we tried to hit, 1,000 people getting fed within the family. That's like our family's
Yeah.
goal.
That's awesome.
We didn't quite make it, but we're going 3 days a day. We're going to hit it this
Oh,
year.
yeah.
We're gonna hit it this
We're going to
year.
hit it this year. So
And I'm sure it looks a little different and means a little more. Like you said, you've kind of seen it front to back. I mean, when you're sitting in a tree stand and there's 6 does out there, you're sitting there thinking, wow, this could do a lot for a lot of people.
right, yeah, exactly.
For sure. And did I hear right, you was his top donor or top volunteer?
Top volunteer.
Oh, okay.
Definitely.
Yeah, there's a couple people out in
Definitely.
West Tennessee that just hammer and hammer,
Yeah.
dude. And
Oh yeah.
yeah.
No, Tim's been helping me out the longest, and in fact, I mean, he's like a true representative of all TWF has to offer. He's a certified coach in the trap shooting program, hunt master in our youth hunting and fishing program. So
TWF does a lot more than just Hunters for the Hungry.
yeah, we run
yeah.
the Scholastic Clay Target program.
Okay.
We had 3,000 kids from across the state at our state championship in Nashville this past summer. We also have the Hunting and Fishing Academy, which it's a lot of in-person type hunts where we're trying to not only take someone and their parent hunting, but we're teaching them all the aspects of hunting. So they're learning how to track and how to look for sign and how to field dress and how to age and all that stuff. And now they also have webinars every week. You can log on and take a webinar on fly fishing or how to pick your flies. I mean, there's a huge variety of options.
That's awesome.
It sounds like a great resource for
sure.
people looking for information.
Absolutely.
Because I mean, I don't know if it's still the case if hunter numbers and stuff like that's dropping off, but I mean, it seems like a great resource for people to go and learn and get out there for. You guys do like field days and stuff like that too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that'd be cool.
Yeah, and one of the big things that their numbers are showing is that it's a millennial gap.
Yeah.
It's kind of that electronic phase that come out. I fall into that first year of it, as bad as I hate to say.
Yeah.
But
I'm in there with you.
yeah, it's just that millennial gap of, hey, the electronics kind of come out. Everybody was more worried about doing that, so they. Dad didn't take them or uncle didn't take them, grandpa didn't take them to the woods. Well, now that they've got kids that are trying to find interest in it, they don't have a clue where to go either.
Exactly.
So a lot of these hunts and programs and that kind of stuff, it's teaching adults just as much as it is kids.
That's great.
You
Yeah.
know, and I've used it a lot. I'm pretty avid outdoorsman all the way around, but I've used them before. Just, hey, I'd like to learn a little bit more about this or that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like there is a lot of people that want to get into the outdoors but have no idea where to start.
Yeah, most people have no idea.
Yeah.
And so if they can go to our website and start getting these weekly classes, an hour of information every week on whatever it may be, then they piece it all together. And if they go on one of our youth deer hunts, for example, part of that is teaching them how to find public land, how to access land, how to talk to landowners. Because that's, obviously if you've got a kid and a parent that have never hunted and they want to learn, well, you can teach them everything about hunting, but where are they going to hunt on their own after that to keep it going?
Sure.
Yeah.
So we've had people that go on these events that will call us months later and they're like, man, I found some land. We went out and we harvested a deer by ourselves. So, it's something that's going to keep that flame going. Is access. And so we're teaching all aspects of hunting.
Yeah, that's good. That's great.
Teach them how to get in the woods. Teach them how to feed their family. Teach them how to feed other families.
Yes.
I mean, there's a lot going on at TWF.
A whole lot.
For sure. If somebody wanted to help, but maybe they're not a hunter, is that possible? So donate or what's that look
absolutely. So there's the Hunters for the Hungry program sits on a stool with 4 legs. And that's kind of my redneck analogy of it. But if you think about it, the 4 legs, obviously processors, because we couldn't do our program without processors. Then you have funders. You know, this we are a nonprofit, so this program is an expensive program. It does a lot of good, but it takes a lot of cash to do that.
Absolutely.
So a lot of the funding that we get are from non-hunters. They don't hunt, but they want to contribute.
Sure.
Then we have our hunters. That's the third stool. Obviously, you know, you got to have people bringing the deer in. And then the fourth stool are these hunger relief agencies that we work with.
Yeah.
And so it's a simple program with 4 different
Avenues.
avenues. Yeah. 4 legs to the stool. So.
Yeah, man. It's a good analogy, whether it's a redneck one or not.
Yeah.
No, I mean, as far as like from a hunter standpoint, what is something that maybe you guys would like to see from the hunters that we could do more of?
More deer. I mean, I think that's the easiest way. Yeah, donate more. That's the biggest thing. And then even teaching it to the next generation, you know, to the kids.
Yeah.
I know how I was whenever Unit L come around, you know, back, what was that, probably in the 90s, that first time. Oh, yeah, 3 does a day, and, man, whacking and stacking. Oh, man, it was bad that first year. But then, you know, and then you kind of learn about the conservation side of it, because next season you're rolling around, you're like, there's as many deer running around as what there was last year.
Yeah.
Sure.
So you kind of learn how to be a little bit more selective and that kind of stuff. So, I mean, it's I don't think it matters really what kind of deer you donate. You know, I mean, I've seen a lot of times you hear these old guys go, oh, yeah, that buck was rutted out, you know, doesn't taste as good, so I'm going to donate it to the program. Hey, donate it to the program. It doesn't matter. You don't want it, donate. I don't believe it.
I don't believe that at all.
You know, that's a 5.5 versus a 1.5 year old. That one's tougher. No, it's not. No. You know, but you hear it all.
Yeah.
So well, that grinder does a job.
Well, a lot of that comes down to how quick you gut it, how quick you get it in the freezer. You know, all that stuff makes a big difference on taste. Handling. Yeah, exactly. So.
Well, and the other thing too is, obviously more deer, but tell people about it.
Yeah.
You know, Tim donates, let's say he donates 5 deer a year. And that's great. And I hope that he donates 5 every year. But if he tells 20 people and they start donating 1 deer, then it just multiplies.
Accumulates.
The more people, you know, and we do surveys all the time. And on the most recent survey, when we asked the general public, have you ever donated this program? It was like 76% of the hunters that we interviewed had never even heard of it, or they didn't know how to donate.
It's interesting.
So, you know, and we have a lot of signs and banners at our processors and that kind of thing, but it still just shocks me that there's hunters out here that have no idea.
Have no idea, yeah. That is kind of shocking for sure.
When I think about it, I just see what's on your hat, the orange triangle.
Yeah.
I mean,
that sticker, yep.
Yeah.
When you finish hunter certification class or hunter safety, I'm pretty sure they give you some of those stickers. And I've still got some. But that's the first thing that I think of for sure.
That's awesome.
Well, there's I mean, I feel like there's a lot of people that process their own deer as well.
Yeah.
There are.
So
I'm actually one of them.
Yeah.
If it's going to us, it hangs up in the backyard.
Yeah.
But luckily, in between my different places that I hunt, I've got processors along the way.
Yeah.
If not, like we were down in Laurel Hill a few years ago, killed a deer down there on a draw hunt.
Mm-hmm.
Pull out the app. Hey, local processor, right here it is. Boom, gone.
Is that on the TWRA app, or is that
it's on
specific?
So we've got a mobile edition of our website.
Oh,
And
okay.
I'm sorry, I don't know all the terms.
No, you're good.
But it uses your phone's GPS
okay.
to show your location, and then you can
drop-off location.
Yeah, it'll. I think it's set to 25-mile radius, but you can change that to 50, 100, up to 250 miles. And so if you're hunting in West Tennessee or East Tennessee or anywhere, in advance, you can pull that open on your phone and zoom in and find the closest processors to you.
Let me ask this question: how many processors do you guys have signed up across the state?
We're going to start the season this year with right around 70.
70.
Mm-hmm.
So even processors need to get on board with this too, right?
Processors need to open new shops.
Yeah.
In the last 10 years, there's been so many processors retire or close down. It's a business that's dying out.
Yeah, that's a shame.
And when COVID hit, we went from 83 processors down to 49 processors the next year. The reason is a lot of them did close down, but a lot of them switched over to beef only. So they're not taking deer. They're doing beef because of the beef scare in the grocery stores or the lack of beef.
Or the prices even. Prices were astronomical.
Yeah, so now they were scheduling beef 2 years out in advance to be slaughtered. Yep. And once a processor stops taking deer and they start the road of doing beef, they generally don't come back to deer.
Yeah.
So we really need more processors to open up.
I agree fully. I mean, there's even parts of deer season that, I mean, you call them, we're not accepting deer, we're full.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in Tennessee, when opening day of rifle starts, obviously you have 2 weeks of muzzleloader right before, and it rolls right into opening day of rifle. Most of these processors don't have time to get caught up from their muzzleloader deer.
Yeah.
So that whole week of Thanksgiving, a lot of them are having to close their door and not accept any deer. Mm-hmm. And it's unfortunate. There's just not enough processors.
Anybody looking for a good business opportunity, right there is one for you.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, 100%.
What if somebody wants to donate a deer, but maybe they want to keep half for themselves? Is that something that's an option as well? Or?
Well, we have so obviously you can donate your whole deer.
Yeah.
That's the free thing. We have another initiative called Pounder Pack. So let's say you want to, maybe you don't eat the burger, or you get too much burger every time. Mm-hmm. When you pay for your deer and you're at the processor, at that point you can donate a pack or two or whatever you want of your deer to the program. Mm-hmm. And we average around 15,000 to 20,000 pounds a year of Pounder Pack, which is great because it's free. Nobody's paying. The hunter's paying.
That's good. Yeah.
It adds up.
Every time you send it to a place to feed some families, is it always cooked hot, or is that something they might send home with somebody and let them cook?
Both, actually. So when we work with agencies like the Rescue Mission or Mustard Seed Ranch here, it's a children's home, they're getting frozen venison and they're cooking it at their facilities and they're eating it hot.
Yeah.
If you go to a place like some churches, they hand out frozen packs to families.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like food bank.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. We work with a guy out of Jackson County. It's called the Bridge Church, and he'll go and he'll keep frozen packs, but he'll also build boxes with like hamburger helper and a sauce and a vegetable, and then he'll include that pound of meat in there. So when they go home with the food, it's easy. They just cook a full meal with everything they provide.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
So
I feel like a lot of times too, people like us don't really know how it is to just be hungry. Mm-hmm. And I mean, for me especially, I know my little boy's always got something in the cabinet he can eat, and to be able to provide food to somebody that is genuinely hungry is such an incredible thing. I mean, especially as us as hunters, just out there doing what we love anyways. It's so easy and so simple.
Yep.
Yeah, I had a processor on, he was doing an interview with a news channel out of Memphis, and we were at his shop, and the reporter asked him something about hunting being controversial, and I'll never forget what he said. He said, well, hunting may be controversial, but hunger isn't. Yeah. And we're just trying to feed
deep right there.
And I mean, like, and I'll never forget that because that guy got it. Like he did 100 deer a year for us. Mm-hmm. And obviously he's putting a lot of his own expense into doing them for us at a discounted rate, but he to line out here.
Yep.
So the processor's like, yeah, I'll cut up anything, like bring them.
Yeah. Good old boy.
And then I was like, well, let me call the agency because they're going to be the ones getting this meat. And they were like, I don't think we have any recipes for emu. So
I've heard it's delicious.
I have too. And if you have alpha-gal, you can eat it.
Yeah.
Because it's a bird. But
garlic and pepper on anything is good.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Well, y'all ate coyote and even said it was good up here. So
we had a guy trap a coyote and we smoked the back straps for like 5 hours and it was delicious. Just to be honest with you, I mean,
I don't know how
I don't know if I'd ever do it again, but it was really good.
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
a pinch if you're hungry.
Well, we only stick with deer though.
I gotcha. Well, I wasn't sure if they did like bear or anything like that.
Yeah, usually if a hunter calls and they're like, "Man, I want to donate some bear,"
sure.
I'll say, the first thing I'll say is that's awesome, that's great, congrats. But then I'll get them in touch with the local agency in their area so they can just go around Hunters for the Hungry and just go straight there and feed.
Gotcha.
And we do that with fish, turkey.
Gotcha.
All of our processors have to be licensed and permitted through the Department of Ag. And when you start getting into birds, they're required to have a poultry permit, which there's only one processor that has both.
Yeah.
So we can't take
time, CRÜZR come out. I mean, you guys are fantastic having you up there. I mean, we appreciate it a lot. And a lot of people learned about, saddle hunting just because it's still new to me. I'm still trying to learn it as well, trying to figure it out. Of course, you always see that new product come out and you're kind of like skeptical. And then as you learn about it, you're like, I can see where this is going to come in handy.
Yeah.
So we had 38, I think, registered shooters up there that weekend. Had a fantastic time up the shooting park. If you've never been up there,
Place is cool.
It's so nice.
Yeah, they've got 2 sporting clays range, trap, skeet field, bunker field.
Yeah, international bunker,
which is really rare across the United States to have one of those fields that close. They have a 200-yard rifle range, some pistol bays, all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, you can go up there. We sight and deer rifles. We do everything there. I'm there 3 to 4 times a week.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah, I live down here in Cookeville, and then driving back about 3 to 4 times a week. We're up there.
About to wear your truck out.
Oh man, yeah. But it's such a great program, and being able to benefit Matt and them. I told Matt the other day, we were kind of talking about it, and I said, my goal is to get to that $10,000 mark to donate to Hunters for the Hungry through the team.
Yeah.
So we're about halfway there now. So I'm hoping, next year or two. And every year it gets a little bigger. First year, it was kind of just local people that knew about us and that kind of stuff. And we've opened it up and kind of got the word out there a little bit more. So yeah, every year it seems to be getting a little bit bigger and a little bit better. So
good deal.
I mean,
hopefully we can help grow that.
Yeah,
for you guys,
absolutely.
for
That's
sure.
where I was going. Anything we can do to help.
I appreciate it.
For sure.
Yeah.
What is y'all got a website? What is the website?
So it's tnwf.org.
And you can find all the local butcher shops and
Yeah,
everything
you just
except-
click on programs,
processors.
Hunters for the Hungry, and it's got a full map. It's got a list, everything. And then you can learn about our other programs. You can learn about what we're doing with public policy on preserving conservation in Tennessee.
Yeah.
So we do a lot. The Wildlife Federation's been around since 1946.
Wow.
And it was founded out of the need because a lot of the wildlife was dying out and wasn't in Tennessee anymore. So a lot of outdoor writers, sports writers, business owners got together and said, we need to do something about this. And so that was in 1946. And then in 1949, they wrote the legislation to get TWRA, or what we know as TWRA, founded.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So a lot of good stuff over the history of Tennessee and conservation. This organization has been a part of it.
Yeah.
That's great.
No, it's awesome. Doing some great things for the state and the country and helping the people in need. And I think as hunters, that should be our part, and as Christians as well.
Yeah,
So-
absolutely.
100%.
And, Tennessee has a great program. Our Hunters for the Hungry program is we're looked at by other states as, they call wanting help or advice, and we gladly do that. There's several states that have a very good program going. Pennsylvania, their program's amazing. Arkansas, Kentucky's got a great program going now. But like I said earlier, we're working with 28 states and their programs.
Yeah.
So no matter where you're listening from, whether it's here in Tennessee or Connecticut, I mean,
Sure.
there's program out there, I can almost guarantee.
Yeah, and we do have a lot of listeners across, a bunch of different states, so that's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys definitely have a Hunters for the Hungry program in your state or something similar.
Yeah.
Yep.
How many? There's only like 3 states that don't. Is that what you're
I
saying?
think there's 5 states
5.
that don't have an official program.
Okay. Probably some sort of something that somebody
They
could do
probably
anyways.
have something
Yeah.
that someone is doing, but
They
it may
probably
not
don't
be
have a
an
lot of
official.
deer either. So
Yeah.
yeah. Western states
Yeah.
possibly, yeah.
But like even some of like Louisiana, they're getting donated gator and fish.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
All the coastal states they're getting a lot of fish donated. Which
That's
is
good,
Really
yeah.
cool.
The way the bear population's growing, though, you might have to start watching them.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
they're coming.
Absolutely.
Well, guys, we appreciate you coming on today.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for
Yeah,
having us.
what you guys do is great. Definitely go out and donate a deer this year for sure. So
It's easy and
it's free.
don't you want to be cool? I mean, we
Yeah.
all want to be
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
And you're only cool if you donate a deer.
Oh,
There
yeah,
you go.
absolutely. If you ain't in Tennessee, find your local Hunters for the Hungry program. Donate there. If you're in Tennessee,
Yes.
Matt,
Same
would
thing.
They're
love
all
to have
through
your
the
deer.
state. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
if you got any questions, go to check the website out.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely. You
all
guys
right.
got like an email people can email you at? Is it on the
Yeah.
website? Okay.
My phone number's listed on there. My
Perfect.
email. So, and I love talking to hunters that call,
Yeah.
that
That's
donate.
great. Yep.
I want to have that relationship with them.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's always
It's
fun
important.
talking
Yeah.
hunting stories, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So.
All right, guys. Well, we appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks.
We'll catch you next time.